Doma Sports Talk Worldwide with some news from the world of boxing. So y'all know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed. Now, some pretty good heavyweight news, good for me, because I roll with the dude. Joseph Parker is back, baby. Joseph Parker coming off that TKO loss versus Joe Joyce, the juggernaut. I think round 11, left hook. Is coming back on in the January. Sometimes towards the end of January. For some reason, I got the 22nd in my head. But towards the end of January, he's coming back. He's fighting a cruiserweight who's coming up, whose name I forgot right now. Doesn't even matter. The main thing is Joseph Parker's back after that fight. Everybody knows me, knows I roll with Joe. I watched him from not the beginning, but when I seen him the first time, I'm talking about during that time when he was beating the likes of Demonchenko, and Carlos Takam. Then the fight he had a close fight, but won that fight against Andy Ruiz Jr. I'm looking at this guy. I'm like, hey, this is a pretty good damn heavyweight. Not super great at anything, but damn good at everything, even including the chin. He was stopped his first time, but I still would consider him to have a good chin. He has a good jab. He's got upper body movement. So it's a pretty good heavyweight, damn good heavyweight in my opinion. I still count him top 5 or 6 even now. You all right? Joe Joyce is going to be an issue for whoever. And the bottom line is his punch resistance. I will say this about Joseph Parker. The Joseph Parker that fought Joe Joyce beats an Anthony Joshua. And I'm going to tell you why. He didn't beat Anthony Joshua in the first fight, and there was 2 reasons. Everybody that watched the fight would say, well, the referee didn't let him get in the inside in that fight. Yeah, he didn't let him get in the inside. Plus, the referee didn't speak English, and that fight was in England with 2 fighters who speak English. They get an Italian referee that can say nothing else other than break. So he kept them away from each other. And we know Joshua has chin issues. Then you would probably say, well, Joseph Parker didn't let his hands go enough against Anthony Joshua, which is pretty correct. Even though I roll with Joe, I'm going to concede that. He could have let his hands go a little bit more. This guy who just fought Joe Joyce let his hands go. I don't think Anthony Joshua will take the same punishment as Joe Joyce would and still come forward. When you land those kind of shots, those heavy shots that you can sit there and wait for a reaction. But not against Joe Joyce. Something is coming right back directly. Joe Joyce is his punch resistance is something phenomenal. Like a George Foreman back in the day type of phenomenal chin. And then he could come back with something. That's going to be an issue for whoever, right? Now, Deontay Wilder, it depends. Because I've seen Deontay Wilder. I was thinking the same thing about Dominic Breazeale back in the day, and Deontay Wilder was able to knock Dominic Breazeale out with 1 shot. If you're not going to be able to knock your boy out, Joe Joyce, with 1 shot, you're going to be in for a long night. And that doesn't matter who you are in the heavyweight division. It's something special. I think Joe Joyce is probably the guy who everybody is probably going to avoid right now. It's very, very, that punch resistance is something spectacular because everybody knows if Joseph Parker would have hit me with something, no matter what heavyweight, they'd be like, well, I would have had an issue that day. So everybody knows that. So let's watch and see what Joseph Parker does in his little comeback fight. He got to get his mind right. See if he can beat this guy because this guy is 20-0, and 20-1, right? So it's not a bad cruiserweight coming up here, right? We got to see what happens, but it's all about Joseph Parker getting his feet wet again, coming back and starting to challenge some of these good fighters, some of these good prospects coming up. He's gonna have to do some fight. Joseph Parker is, gonna have to rebuild after this. So, but I think he's talented enough to do so, and I'm excited. What about you? Doma Sports Talk Worldwide, and I'm up out of here, y'all.